you are not a one-take wonder. Repeat after me. You are not a one-take wonder. No, I am not. Okay. Gonna sing a snappy little number for you. Hello everyone, coming to you from Lamar Street over here on my layout just ahead of the brewery. See, I've done a little bit of scenery work over here, putting in some trees and so forth. So, just something to keep me occupied while I'm waiting for more cash. And it's been a long wait. Anyway, got some progress done on Atlas Metals, so we'll take a look at that and then we'll wrap up this video. See you in a bit. On this update, we'll take a look at the track plan for the Atlas Metals section and see how it compares to the prototype. The overall concept is simple. We have the two CNS main lines coming south out of Rice Yard, plus the long switching lead. Butting up against that is Intermountain Junction, which takes us west to Lakewood and Two Creeks. East of the main line, we have a long siding with a shorter siding coming off of the north end. From there, the two scrap spurs for Atlas Metals head north underneath the Colfax and Lawrence and Larimer viaducts. The shorter siding is key here. Since the longer siding's south switch is actually off the layout, this short siding is the only runaround available. This lack of a south switch also means that the only entry and exit point for this trackage is via the north switch. All else relies on a switchback style of operation. This still works well, however, since the short siding can hold an average of 7 gondolas, and that's about all that Atlas requires even at maximum production. Looking at some aerial shots from the early 2000s, we can see that the track plan mimics the prototype, albeit with a few smaller spurs trimmed off at the south end of the plan. I saw little need to spend money on switches only to have their tracks instantly dead-end into the backdrop. One of the main deviations from prototype is that Intermountain Junction actually diverges from the main in a northbound direction as opposed to the southbound version that I've modeled. The reason for this should be obvious. How am I to run a train from Rice Yard to the associated railroads when I don't even have 4 feet of track beyond that junction? The answer was simply to flip the direction, and now everything runs smoothly. Speaking of beyond the junction, I did build a 6-foot extension on the southern end of the sections running into my stairwell. This serves as a multi-purpose switching extension and quasi-staging for CNS local trains running to and from Rice Yard. The extension of the siding is critical to operations at Atlas Metals, since without it, the whole switchback thing wouldn't have room to move. Once all the track was installed, it was time to tackle the wiring. Much like the east end of Myrtle Place, I had to leave a couple of feet of isolated track at the end of each section to prevent runaways from dropping off the edge, and these are backfed from the adjacent section via a 4-contact Anderson plug. I did temporarily connect the isolated section at the north end of Atlas Metals so that this part of the layout can be used as an airsat staging area until Rice Yard is built. So that end of the track has a small barrier attached. Based on the wisdom of our modeling elders, I dropped feeders from every whole section of rail and soldered them to the track bus. I'm sure suitcase or scotch lock connectors would be easier in some people's minds, but they are in short supply in my area. They require tools I don't have or wish to buy, and most importantly, cost money. Soldering and taping, by contrast, is both cheaper and more reliable. Satisfied that all of the hot work was done and tested, I painted the track with Rust-Oleum Camouflage Brown, following up with some Model Master Fabric Tan and Rust-Oleum Flat Grays to weather the sidings and spurs. After a bit of track cleaning to remove the paint from the top of the rails, the sections were ready to begin scenery and structures. And I'll be getting to that next time. Thanks for watching. So that wraps it for this episode. Next time we'll talk about scenery, including a little bit about me making one of these do-it-yourself static grass guns using an electric fly swatter. So, until then, thanks for watching. See you next time. Can't believe I pulled that off with a straight face.